Hey everyone, it's Tony, and I just want to say today is October 18th, 2018. Today marks the 10th anniversary of TVC Studios. I am so happy and proud to have made it 10 years doing this. Whether it was drawing comic strips, or working on the web shows, or developing projects for future release, any little thing that I have done for this company has made me very, very happy. It has brought me very brief moments of joy. I'm trying to find the words right now to say, and it's kind of emotional because I never expected the studio to reach 10 years. I had a hard time expecting it to reach 5 back in 2013, but that was just me. So, I guess the best way to start this off is to talk a little bit about the early years. 2008 and 2009, when we started the company, it was um, it was kind of slow, really slow. We only had a few projects, kind of under the belt at that point. The only ones were Ennsville and Circles, and of course you can't really do much with two projects, but uh, somehow we found a way. Ennsville actually ended up getting us a production deal with Presqu'île Publishing, and that would be in 2010. And I guess in some ways I could say 2010 was kind of the kickoff year for the entire company. So in 2010 we get this deal to develop a comic strip, and at the same time we developed a new project that we were working on, originally as short cartoons, called Damien and His Devil. And the thing about Damien and His Devil is I never had the intention to make it into a comic strip. The only reason it got made into a comic strip was because I figured pie in the sky idea, let's just throw it out there and do it. So I ended up doing that, and of course that was the strip that became successful and ended up getting us that production deal for the next 4 years, from 2010 to 2014. During that time, a lot of other things would start to come about in the studio. We were, of course, developing more projects as time went on. Of course, developing more stuff in 2012. And actually, at that same time, we were beginning to dive into the online division. And to talk briefly about the online division, doing online videos, I never had the intention of doing. That was never my intention to begin with. I really have to give most of that credit to Adam Paczynski of Unknown Salvation. When he and I got together to work on some projects during that period, I have to say he was the one that propelled me to distributing stuff through YouTube and Facebook. I would have never considered doing that beforehand. So the first projects I ended up releasing for the digital division, or the online division, I guess I should say, were the shows The Game Critics and Late Night with Tony Rasmussen. Now, The Game Critics is interesting because that was supposed to be its own show. That was the project me and Adam were developing. And it all of that started with a class project. And of course, as time went on, the class project kind of delved into its own thing. And we unfortunately never got a chance to really release it. I think if you look online now, the only thing you'll see is the last episode we had shot, a few clips from the last episode. But we had overall 9 episodes in the bag that we had produced for this show. And of course, only a few clips from the last episode ended up getting made. So it kind of ended up becoming a bust, and the other side of that coin was it kind of led to a small strain in our creative partnership, because Adam had one direction he wanted to take the show, I had another. we couldn't find a way to make it mingle, and it kind of also led to the death of the show. When I developed Late Night with Tony Rasmussen, my idea was just, we'll do some kind of talk show thing. We'll also do some side skits and stuff, and we'll make it all work. It lasted 4 episodes aired, 9 produced, and did not work at all. I think my enthusiasm for the series lasted up until episode 5. After that, I'm like, well, I might as well do some more just to finish the burden. And then, of course, a few months after that is when I finally hit upon what I figured at the time was the gold mine, and that was Ransom Reviews. And Ransom Reviews, I guess I could say up to a point, was considered the longest running show. That first season we did back in 2012, I think, was the longest season in general up till the 5th season, clocking in with 19 episodes. And of course, after all that, we kind of hit a dead period, both with the comic strips and with the online division. 2013, well, it was our 5th anniversary, was really a dead period. There was absolutely nothing going on. Not behind the scenes, and well, of course there was stuff going on behind the scenes, but nothing that was fully getting developed. I guess the only thing that would really had gotten released was a project that I had essentially co-developed with another friend of mine who unfortunately shut down his production house about a year after. So that was the only project that had gotten made. So when we kicked into 2014, the online division immediately sparked back up along with the comic strip. And by that point, we decided just to end the comic strip. It was just becoming too much of a burden for me. So I ended the comic strip after 3 years, and I just kept myself fully devoted to the online division. And the first project we did in the 2014, I guess I could say, rebrand of that division was the 2nd season of Ransom Reviews. And what's funny is I'd always intended that I would just do 2 seasons of that show. And of course, as time went on and up to this date, we've done now 6. So it's kind of funny how perceptions change as time goes on. But following that, we did other stuff like The Joy of Saving, which was a short film I directed and technically co-written with Adam. Thus, the creative duo came back together. And then we also went to work on Hanging Out at Walt Disney World, that 5-episode miniseries. I would eventually go to develop Ransom Reviews Season 3, which I had intended at that point to be the final season. Of course, it didn't happen. And then I would go on to do mini reviews following and do Season 4 onward for that show. And then, of course, other projects would come along. Stuff like Let's Play, Let's Draw, Game-O-Rama, and other projects that were in development but didn't get through initial phases. And I guess that kind of just leads us into 2016. At that point, stuff personally had changed, and I knew I had to find something new to essentially express how I was feeling. And that's essentially where the New York Files came from, was that desire to want to express individualism. And at the same time, I've kind of enjoyed doing the travel log shows after doing Hanging Out at Walt Disney World, and doing some update videos for family updates during the spring when I was out in Mount Pleasant. So that's where that came from. And it's funny, at the time we did this recording for the 10th anniversary, we had just wrapped up the 7th season, and it's kind of funny to think that this show lasted longer than Ransom Reviews, but it took shorter to produce. Where Ransom Reviews exactly took 6 years to get to the 6th season, we've gotten to 7 seasons in 2 years. I always thought that was funny. I guess the question now is, what does the future hold? And, well, I don't really have an answer for you, but I'm pretty sure what you're about to see next might give you a hint of what we have coming up for the end of this year and the start of 2019. So, let's take a peek.